Peace, family. Welcome back to another segment of Chief Speaks on Enlightenment and Transformation. I am Zach Latimer. I'm sure I'm joined by Sister Ty and Sister Charles. Are y'all there?
Peace,
Yep.
How is everything going for you today?
Everything is going well, brother.
Beautiful.
All right, that's all right. Well, as you all know, if you've been listening in, this month has been on magicians and manifesting. And for me, when we talk about magicians and just manifesting, at the base core of it, it was just removing any forms of things or blockages that you have in your way. And I think this gets tough or difficult for us at sometimes because we oftentimes buy into an instant, like an Instagram, or you just an instant gratification, or you just sit down and you do something and then you're supposed to get something instantly from it. And that couldn't be further from the truth. It comes a progression that one has to get to master any form or level to get to. I look at a Floyd Mayweather when he says he gets into the ring, and then he kind of just adapts to whatever somebody is doing to him. And then he adapts to their style in order to see what they're doing to defeat them. Well, one has to get to this level day in and day out. That comes from practicing. That comes from conditioning. That comes from you watching film on your opponent. That comes from people. What people don't see is the time that one puts in to get to that point. But when you get up there and all of you see it, and then you hear these, or you hear these songs of a Beyonce, well, I woke up like, you didn't wake up like that. That took a lot of work. That took a lot of time. That took a lot of energy, and that took a lot of effort. But we buy into it. So then all of a sudden you come home, or you come with your, you get your pops, you get here, and okay, you get your ritual, and you get something that you're supposed to do, and then you get down there and you do it, and you say, well, hold on, man, this thing worked out like it worked out for him or for her. Why is it not working out? Well, and then you start looking for your receipt, like, man, I got to take this pot back. This thing must be broke. It's not broke. The thing is, you have to keep getting down there, and you do it over and over again. So then when you get to that point, when you get to that place, well, then now it looks like it's effortlessly that you've done it, because you've done it so many times. And you've already done it where it looks like, man, this person is just, manifesting greatness. Yeah, because they put in that time over a long period, or you don't know what they did to get to that point. So when I'm just looking at magicians manifesting, is then you back it all down. Then you have faith in yourself. And you're able to have faith in yourself, and you know that you can manifest anything because you've done it over so long. You even look at Chief Speaks when he sits down and talks, he makes it look very easy. Makes it look, and anytime somebody can make things look very easy, they have done this for a long time. It isn't like Chief just got up and started teaching yesterday and start, herking and jerking and talking all that. When somebody can sit down and just make something flow like that, they have been doing this for a long time, and they know without a shadow of a doubt that they can get done what they set out to get done. But this comes from over a period of time. The difference between a master and a student is that the master's made more mistakes. But then after you make the mistake, then you adapt to that mistake. You see what mistake you made, and then you correct it, and then you keep moving on. So I think when I look into this magicians and manifestors, it just boils down to now just being persistent, being flexible, and being mobile is when I look at it. So what do y'all think?
This was a really hot month for me. I was so happy that Chief chose this topic. And I think what stuck out for me the most was remembering that whenever something succeeds, something has to fail. A few years ago, I did a collaboration with a few business owners on spectacular failures, and we all kind of talked about some of the things that went really wrong on the surface, but in the end, they worked out really well. And it just made me realize that we actually have these failures and successes every day, all the time, and we just don't really pay attention to learn the lessons through it. So repetition is definitely key. I can see in my own magic how this tends to manifest differently the more I do it. I can remember the very first ritual I've done, and then, other rituals I've done with, with Kim and Chief and with you all as well, and how those have really, really unfolded over time. So having that mind of the magician and recognizing success and failure go hand in hand was a really critical point for me.
Yeah, I would just, echo what both of you are saying. I thought, Zach, that your point about the work that it takes to to become a master is really important. Like people say that, if you want to learn or understand something, you have to just put in 10,000 hours worth of study to really know it. And you think about how many of us are not willing to put in that kind of time to understand something. We think that success should be instant, and oftentimes we bring that same sort of perspective to our spiritual work. And one of the things that stood out to me was the example that Chief was giving about somebody who was doing a ritual, and they wanted to get $5,000. And the first time they get $5, or they get a nickel, and then they get $15, and then they get $50. And just the time and the effort and the repetition that it takes to get to where that $5,000 may be. And how often, people stop at a certain point, and they stop at 500, or they develop a feeling of, they get frustrated because they haven't gotten the $5,000 the first time out. And just how important it is to continue to understand that spiritual work is spiritual work, just like anything else. The other thing that really stood out to me was the idea of your real, in parentheses, character matching up with your spiritual character. And this notion that, you can't be a superhero in your spiritual life and be the complete opposite in your real life and expect for things to work. And, one of the things that I've really appreciated just with the Chief Speak shows, just Chief in general, is the willingness to make things very practical. And even in talking about magic, we're really talking about, I think, the practical steps that it takes to make things happen. Reading a book or...
Oh, Brother Charles, you're breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yep, there we go.
So basically what the quote was, and I know I'm going to get it wrong, but is that the occultist understands or makes sense out of what he sees, but no one understands. And so basically, that's what I kind of leaned on in trying to understand that mindset of the magician, is to see the interconnectedness and the things that people don't really understand it, and so we're not really aware of the causes of things or the byproducts of things. And so that really stood out for me as well. And then lastly, the focus on your character, because as we know, it's such a critical part of all the spiritual work is the character that you have and the character that you bring to this work. So, as always, I thought that while we might have been talking about something that might seem very, ethereal like magic, we're also at the very same time talking about something which is very practical, which is the work that we're doing, which is the character that we bring to that work and the mindset of that work.
I think we have a... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sis.
I was just going to say, I think we have another perspective. Sister Michelle may be on the line, too.
Oh, jump on in.
Peace, brothers and sisters. How's everyone doing today?
Peace,
Sister Michelle.
We gonna be all right.
That's good to hear. No, I'm just listening to you guys and agreeing. It was a very powerful month. And it couldn't come at a better time, in my opinion. I needed to start doing some manifesting, and I really enjoyed the Merkaba show because it put a lot of dimensions together, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it also brought me back to that to the show where Chief did that. It was called Where Your Life is a Ritual. So it brings me into looking more at what I do every day and what I'm feeding. What is it that, what are my intentions behind everything I do? I'm a stay-at-home mom, but there's magic everywhere. There's magic when I cook. There's magic when I clean. There's magic when I clean my babies. There's magic when I feed my babies. There's magic when I welcome my husband home, when I say goodbye. So it made me aware that I have to be more aware, basically, of what I'm doing every day. And I think that goes to all of us, What are we thinking? How are we behaving? How are we interacting with other people? And when Chief shared his experience with that woman at the supermarket on Thursday, that also made me realize too that everybody you meet is in your life for a purpose. And that's also very important. Every single sign in nature, how the wind blows or how the water flows. It's just that we have to be aware of seeing the divineness in the everyday. And, sometimes we need a daily reminder of that until we get used to it. I don't know about you guys, but I still, every single day when I go to my altar, I still say my magic is powerful. I'm a powerful witch, just how Chief recommended in the archives. And it's that repetition that I'm starting to see, man, everything I put on my altar, boom. Everything that I really put my intentions to, boom. Sometimes I don't even have a chance to go to my altar, and I mentally light a candle for somebody on my altar, and it's like in the next few days, things got a little better. And I'm not going to say it's me, but I'm like, damn, the universe, it's aligning, the intentions, the vibrations, they're there. You just have to be confident about it and diligent. What is it? Diligent about it. Every single day. Exactly. Every single day, keep doing it, and it works.
I think you said something that really everybody said something that just stood out for me was one, Michelle, when you just were speaking. It was just the simplicity in one not thinking that this can't possibly be magic. And even when you greet somebody or you just, you smile, that you work in magic because then all of a sudden it breaks up somebody's stream of cognition where, whoa, what's going on? Where they might have been in deep thought over here and then all of a sudden, or this might have been bothering me, and just a simple smile can just work some magic on somebody to change their whole way of thought. So, when we look at it, we don't need to overthink it. You don't stop overthinking things so much and just start. You have to go with the flow and the stream and trust the stream and trust in yourself. And then even when I heard you Sister Time, you talking about failure, I think the biggest thing when people hear failure, they don't know how many times they have to fail. And if you don't know how many times you have to fail, then you can kind of get down. It's like, man, I'm over this and I'm going to pack it up and then I'm folding in the tent. But if somebody sat there and told you, all right, you're going to fail. If you fail 23 times, then the 24th time it's going to work. You would be looking for failure. You would be on a hunt for failure. You would be just like, okay, there's one. Okay, there's two. There's three. Just racking them up, knowing when you get to this, then all of a sudden it's going to be this grand potpourri. But the thing is, people don't know, and because you don't know, do you still have the wherewithal? Do you still have it in you? Do you still have that grit? Do you still have that determination? Whereas when you set out to do something, but without a shadow of a doubt, do you know that you're going to get it done? No matter what happens, no matter what gets in front of you, no matter what gets behind you, what gets on the side of you, you know it doesn't matter. I'm going to still get this done. I was watching something the other day where we was talking about, I think it was Warren Buffett or somebody was just saying that they don't hire people or take on people's business unless they have failed at least 3 times. Because then you have worked out the kinks, you have worked out the knots, and then you still, and it shows a level of dedication. How many of us have that level of dedication that we know it's going to be this or it's going to be nothing? And you got to put that time, that energy, and that effort in to manifest and work your magic, to work it and keep removing those, open those streams of cognition. And even when he brought it up on another show, he's talking about how this is why we dance, and this is why we do drum, and this is why we do these certain things, so we can start to operate from that pure form of consciousness. And whatever you need to do, whatever that looks like for you, will then start to open that stream of cognition so you can start to manifest and bring on your own reality. So I thought that was pretty significant.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's funny because, when I'm listening to what you're saying, and then also what Sister Michelle said, just when we're thinking about our rituals, and what do we deem as a successful or an unsuccessful ritual. And so one of the things that I was wondering and listening to the shows, and maybe it's something that we can all answer here, is, in the past when you've done a ritual and it has been successful, what do you think made it successful? And conversely, in the past, when you've done a ritual and it has not been successful, what do you think made it that way also? And maybe systems.
I was going to say I'll go. So everything from the mindset that I had, not just when the ritual, I'll say ritual started as in where I sat in front of my shrine or my altar and began to blend ingredients, but the mindset and the energy and the intention from the point where I decided I was going to actually do that ritual, because that's really when it starts. I can kind of go back and trace, because now I just journal everything. I can go back and trace where I was emotionally, what day of the strong it was, what energy was most present at that time. If I was doing a ritual with someone else, how did that impact me? That whole set of intentions, and in other situations, just overanalyzing, because I overanalyze everything. So having that, let me read this part, instead of just being in the flow of the ritual, and not necessarily taking ownership of the fact that I got this. Whatever it is I set forth, because my intention is so strong, it's going to work. Those ones that didn't work out well, I didn't have that level of energy. I didn't have that level of being so open to the process. And I know, for me, I have to get my energy into a place where I'm dancing and singing before and after the ritual. You all saw me do that in July when we got together too. The day that we did a ritual, I kind of went out on the porch and just kind of started to shift my energy to a different place. But all of those things, the relationship with the energies that you're calling on, recognizing that they are internal and not external, you're invoking, not evoking, all those different implements that you're using. I do mantras and yantras, they all have something to do with how successful or unsuccessful that ritual is. So I think it's intention and the energy that you come with, and recognizing that you have to become that energy that you're pulling, you're trying to awaken to manifest.
Yeah, Brother Zach, you wanted to add something as well?
Yeah, so you when I set out to do anything, sometimes what gets in my way is and even Chief hit on it too, is I get goal centered. So even if I get out, sometimes I'll skip the little processes or the little success that I do have. I'm like, yeah, but that ain't what I want. This ain't what I wanted. This ain't. It's gonna be this, or just I ain't tripping. Oh yeah, but you come so far. I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me how far I came. Don't tell me where I don't care. This is going to be this. And it kind of throws you off, and it removes you, though. What happens is it just removes you from the moment and in just enjoying life in general. So sometimes I have to step back and look at it and be like, you know what? I do have to enjoy this process. I do sometimes you got to get your hands dirty and go through and enjoy it. Or sometimes I want to stay into much of the light, but you can't just stay over there. You got to, in order to manifest something, you got to go back and forth from being in it, putting your hand in the dirt and getting down and dirty, or then standing up and walking tall. So I think from anything that I have done up until this point, I think it's just being able to go with the flow and to flow and to understand that things are not always going to work exactly how I set them out to do it, but having the faith in myself that whatever shows up in front of me, that I have the tools that I need to get it handled. And I think that's just been the most significant part in handling anything. And any time that I don't, then I get to overthink it, and when you start to overthink, and I think that's when everything just starts to go in the toilet, everything goes down the drain, and you're like, man, why won't this work? Why won't this do that? Why won't, and you don't manifest your own reality. It's just almost like when I used to walk up to a young lady or something I wanted, and you got your pickup line already in your head, and then you go up there and your mind just goes blank because you've already planned it out. Instead of adapting and trying to roll with it and saying, okay, if somebody answers you a different way than what you didn't plan for it in your head, then you're sitting there just looking stuck. But if you just go up there, you just you go with the flow, well then it's a whole different stream of cognition. It's a whole different outcome that you start to roll with.
Gotcha.
I took it to Mac lessons. My apologies, but
yeah. Yeah, no, that's all good, man. That's all good. You know, I was thinking, Brother Zach, you ain't never had no problem eating no women, man. You know that. No, you know that. Sister Michelle, is there something you would like to add as well?
No, I'm okay. I'm just listening to you guys. You guys are building very well. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem. No, I mean, I guess just for me, you know, I would say that where I found my ritual work to be the most successful is when it's beyond me. So there have been times where I've wanted to do stuff that was really selfish and self-centered in its focus. And I found that, you know, it may work to a certain extent, but the things that have been closest to what my intention was, the things that had a much bigger benefit. And it was bigger even in my mind and coming to it. So, you know, I think in the process of doing a ritual, yes, you are the person that's doing it. And so, yes, there is, you know, I think in the natural order of things, you are giving something and you are in effect also receiving something. I found that for me, when that receiving process also includes something that others or something else will receive, it tends to work more effectively and it tends to work closer to my intentions. And so when I approach my ritual work now, I really try to think about the big picture and not just about this is what I want, but, you know, what is it that would be best for more than just me? And even sometimes things that aren't even about me in general at all and are strictly for the benefit of other people. And so, you know, I think initially when I came to this, I approached it a lot of times, you know, from what I would consider to be more of a selfish agenda. So, you know, I could very much be the person who would say, hey, I want like an extra $500 this week, and this is what I'm doing it for. But, you know, conversely, as I've done this more and I've thought about it more and considered more along the lines of wanting something for someone else, regardless of whether or not it touches me at all, I've seen that it really tends to be much more beneficial and much more fluid that way. So that's just what my impressions have been. I know that we have a caller 615. Can we bring that person in?
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings, brother. Greetings. Greetings. We're doing well, brother. How about you?
I'm all right, man. This month been a whirlwind, man. Like, you know, between the shows and things that's been happening, it's been a whirlwind. What resonated with me about the magician is how Chief was talking about the mind, having the mind of the magician, and what magic really is. So in my mind, what I came to conclusion about, and Brother Zach had commented on it and said, you know, keeping it simple. So, you know, you have to ask yourself, what is magic? And for me, how it made sense to me based off what Chief was saying about the mind of the magician is, to me, magic is manipulating coincidence. And that's how, you know, for me, I know that my rituals and intentions are working, is the coincidence that follows after it happens. So like that was real big for me. And then when he said about knowing which voice is talking, know your ori from your brain from your mind from your spirit from your ancestors from, you know, other your parasites you got in your body. Just being able to know and manipulate them voices and know which one to listen to that'll help you accomplish your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know what? When I heard you speaking too, it just popped in my head is just to know which one, different one is thinking. I think the biggest thing is too for me was just having a community that you can talk to, and some people can help you along those lines of understanding which one is different one to talk. Because I know a lot of times we listen to some other people and they're like, yeah, all the answers are within. Just go within. Yeah, but then when you go within and then you keep running into a wall, who can you bounce some of these ideas off of, or who can you talk to and say, you know what? Oh yeah, I've done that. That's not it. And then you can start to put these different voices and these like feelings that you have of, okay, well then you know what? I know where that one's coming from. Let me see, I could put that in this category. I know where this one's coming from. I could put that in this category. So for me, the biggest thing, too, is just having a community that you could build with in order to start to figure some of this out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, one of the things that I would say, too, with Brother Zach is that, and I said this to you this week, man, is that you're a person who's never afraid to ask questions. And I think that really increases not only your own learning, but it also increases the learning of, people that have to, or that are trying to respond to those questions as well. Definitely, I think the community part is really important in all this. I see that we have another caller, caller 904. Can we bring that caller in?
Peace. Alafia, Chief Yuya and the crew, Sadulu House. How y'all doing?
Peace, all right, brother.
Hey, peace. How you doing? My name is Tareem. I'm a new student in the Sadulu House. I'm going through my training phase and everything. This is my first time calling in, but I want to let y'all know that I support y'all 100%. Y'all blessed me so much with, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I've never known. And I just, feel honored, actually speaking to the chief and everything, man. I just have a question. I apologize if it's not really, pertaining to the subject, because I just got on. I wanted to know, because you told me to do an exercise, Chief, that's in the phase where you get your mirror, you get the black candle, you smudge, your place with the sage and, everything like that, and you staring into the mirror. And I did that, and a tear came out of my eye. I don't know, I was looking in the mirror and I seen myself in different forms, which I think you said that was going to happen. But I want to know, when we do our rituals, do we do them on a everyday basis at the same time until something manifests, or do we just do it one time and just keep contemplating on it, until it manifests? Like, when we do our rituals, do we supposed to perform them every single day or not?
Well, first, brother, let me just say thank you very much for calling in, man. We really appreciate that. Definitely give thanks to the positive vibrations that you've given to us. On starting with phase 1 of the Anu Spiritual Training Program, we're all very familiar with the exercise that you're talking about, and so right. Chief is not on the phone right now, so I think any questions specific to him, he would have to reach out to him, and he'll try to answer about the pool, and then definitely turn it over to everyone else as well. I think that with your ritual work,
anybody can answer it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We most certainly will. I would just say that with your approach it, when you have a reading done, the reading may require you to do it.
I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Hold on. Let me get in the area, sir. I'm sorry. I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you now.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. Maybe that makes me clearer too as well. I moved around also. So let me just say that there's two ways to approach it. So one is that when you have a reading, your reading may give you a certain prescription for not only the way that ritual has to be done, but the number of times, the place, the time of day, that thing that you have to do. And in that sense, then you're following along those instructions. In other instances, when you're doing your personal ritual work, I would say that similar to the example that Brother Zach mentioned at the beginning of the show, talking about how Floyd Mayweather kind of feels his way through a fight. You're feeling your way through your ritual. So you may feel like this is something I need to do every day. You may feel like this is something I need to do once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week. But I think that you have to be very normal with your spiritual work. So it really shouldn't, I'm making this statement, I don't think it should feel like effort. It should be what you're doing naturally, and you'll know sort of the natural way and flow that goes. Now, there may be some aspects of a ritual work that are everyday work, like you brush your teeth every day. You know, you don't necessarily have a choice, or you might have a choice about how often you want to brush your teeth. But, you know, the ritual is to brush your teeth every day. You know, so there could be some ritual that is like that, and there's some that I'm sure that we do that's that way. But, you know, I've had experiences where I did the same a portion of the same ritual for 3 months straight to try to get to what I wanted. And, you know, there came a certain point where I knew that, okay, now I can stop doing this. And once I got to that point, you know, I felt that this was the time that I could stop. But I think that my perspective would be to try to feel your way through that. Sister Taya, what do you think about that question?
I think that's great advice, and the only thing that I would add to that is probably that sometimes it is not the entire ritual that may need to be repeated. You know, once you've done a ritual, there are different elements that you may need to continue to build on. So you have to be able to sit still long enough to know, okay, this part is done, but I need to continue to grow this piece. So let me continue to do this thing over and over again until I know that part is done, and then I'll go build on something else. So I think the advice you gave, Brother Charles, was excellent, and I would just add that it's not always the entire ritual that needs to be repeated. There are some elements that may need more energy and intent than you originally put in.
Okay.
Yeah. And Brother Zach, what would you like to add?
Yeah, y'all pretty much hit the nail on the head, man. Congratulations, brother. That's what I'm gonna tell you. And when I first came in, I'm gonna just say, for me, I kind of hear what you're saying, and I was doing along the same lines. But see, I came from a church background, so in my church background, I needed rules, like guidelines, and this is what it needs to be. But then as you keep going, you start to see that. Even if you hear in the beginning of the show, it says just to be as natural as you can be with your spiritual self. So then you'll start to feel in your intuition of what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it, and what works best for you. Because what works for me may not work for you. You know, and even along this line, you know, it even says you're supposed to become your own teacher. So when you start to fill it out, then you'll start moving, and you'll start grooving, and you'll start to get in your own groove, and then you'll be like, okay, this works for me, and you'll be able to give some guidelines for other people. So I would just say right now, you know, just keep going at the pace that you're going, and how many times you feel you need to do something, then you do it until you feel like you got it. And then once you got it, then you move on. But I would say just don't rush, though. Because a lot of times, a lot of people get into the class, and they do this, and they do it once, and then I'm out, and then they're wondering why they're in the same spot they were. Because they didn't take the time to actually get it right. They didn't take the time to actually understand what was really going on, so that they're able to. And Chief always says it, once you're able to get into a space where you can teach it, then that's when you really know it. If you're not in a space where you can teach it, then you got to keep going back. And I think that's what it is. Just keep going over it until you get it. So.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that too, man. You know what I'm saying? And one more thing, since I'm a new student, do y'all have a number or a point of contact where I can contact, you know, the Sadulu House community, to where if I have any questions, you know, concerning, you know, my class, or concerning, you know, is you know, this the only, you know, portal to where I can, you know, get my questions answered or whatnot? Because I do have some questions sometimes, you know.
Yeah, well, I would just say it depends on the nature of the question. I mean, if it's something specific to the site and how the site is operating, then I know that there's a function there for you to be able to send an email and someone will respond to you. But the purpose of this monthly call is for those that are students, those that want to be students, those that, you know, like the word student, to give a call in, and to, you know, for us to really talk and dialogue. I mean, we're not, none of us are approaching this from the standpoint of being experts. You know, Chief is the expert. We're the students. And sometimes just in getting together collectively and talking things through, you know, we can come to some conclusions and answer some things as well. But there's definitely a student forum that is available that can answer some of those questions. There are ways to connect online. And then, the last Sunday of every month, we're also available here for this phone call.
Okay.
Jackson, let me just add that on Sadulu House, where you are taking that class, there is a student forum where you can ask other students questions.
Okay.
So in between this show and your day-to-day, you can definitely go in there and ask questions too.
Okay, just go on SaduluHouse.com and find the student forum.
Yeah, once you're logged in, you should be able to access the student forum.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, family.
You're welcome.
Thank you, brother.
No doubt, brother.
Yes, sir.
So I have some more. As I listen to the shows, I always try to take notes and then also have a lot of questions. And I want to bring questions to this group as well because it helps me to deepen my understanding. And one of the things that I wanted to ask about was just like the notion of initiation. So I remember there was one show where Chief talked about how everyone comes and they want to be initiated right away, or they were told that they need to be initiated right away. And so I know that for those of us on the line, we've obviously heard the term initiation. Maybe we've known some people who have gone through ones. Maybe we've gone through some ourselves. And I guess one of the questions that I want to ask to the group, and I think I'll start with Brother Zach first. But so now that you
let's start with Brother Jack. Yeah.
Brother Zach. Sorry. So starting with Brother Zach. So how has your idea of initiation changed over time?
Man. This is a very good question for me because I actually know somebody who has got initiated, has flown to the continent, has went, through all of the steps, got the chickens, goats, and all of the above. And when you first look at it, I think you start to see, for me at least, you're like, okay, when you get initiated, then once you come out on this other side, then it's just going to be just everything. You'll see the codes and you'll see the flow and you'll have all the answers and everything is just going to be, you can manifest whatever you want. And it's just going to be, bam, you just got everything. And then as you start to see it, say, hold on. Well, now, you don't went through this initiation, but then as you start having conversations with everybody, like, we in the same boat, man. Like, what do you know? I don't know. How do you do that? I don't know. How you do this? I don't know. Well, what'd you get the whole doggone initiation for then? Hey, man, it was just an experience to go through. So now when I start to see, somebody, when I look at initiation, somebody can't initiate you. You can't be like, you have to go through the steps. You have to put the time, the work in to get yourself to a place where you're all right. I'm able to understand what is going on around here, and I'm able to somewhat even start to manifest some things that I have put the energy in, so I can start to do it. So initiation is almost like, and I think he did a show on this, if I'm not mistaken. We were just talking about, you can't, just like you have to be recognized in the spiritual community. So for you to get initiated to a certain energy, or you get consecrated to a certain energy, you have to, this energy would have to recognize you. So it would be no different than if you wanted to talk to somebody or you wanted to get married. I think that was an example that he one of the shows. And you can't just walk up to somebody and say, okay, you two get married now. Well, hold on, I don't know this person. I don't know you. You don't know me. So how are we gonna make this work? How do you? That would be almost a form of rape. Like, lay down with them and then figure it out. Well, you have to develop some sort of relationship. And this is when I think I even heard Sister Kim say it sometime, is that you have to look in this like it's a spiritual bank. And you keep going. Once you keep going back and you get acquainted and you start to know these energies that you're working with and these energies that you're using, and you can put it in your spiritual bank. Now, sometimes you want to check your account. see how much you got in there. It's like, hold on, man, because I feel like I'm not getting nowhere. But you just keep going, and you have this, and then it's a natural initiated process that you'll start to come into on your own. Set up one getting initiated, so to speak, and then somebody who's on a whole nother level can take you into a whole nother realm. So I think my views on initiation have changed over time. Just knowing somebody who has went through one, and then knowing the process that I'm in, like, yeah, it's just not that simple. It's not that easy, even though you want it overnight.
Yeah, those are good points. Sister Ty, is there anything you would want to add to that question?
Yeah, it's funny because everything Zach said is pretty much what I would say. Those people that I do know that have gone through initiations, I can't necessarily see that level of, I guess, spiritual advancement that I would expect to see in someone that's initiated. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And so in my young understanding of initiation, first of all, is, initiation versus consecration. And my understanding of that is that the consecration is more of developing a more sacred level of access to that deity. But initiation has more to do with, like, actual priesthood. So I definitely agree with everything that Zach said. And my initial link and understanding with the initiation piece was that it would offset karma, like, oh, everything's going to be easy peasy. I'm going to be able to see all of these different things. I'm going to be able to manifest instantly. But the other thing with that, too, is that all karma is not bad karma. You want to offset negative karma to some degree, but there's karma in everything that we do. So I saw it as, like, instant magic, basically, once you go through that process. But I really don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know I've thought a lot of those same things that you and Brother Zach were saying. Brother Dietrich, I know you're still on the line. Would you like to add something in terms of how your ideas of initiations have or maybe have not changed over time? Brother Dietrich?
Brother Dietrich ain't got initiated something else now. So, I'm glad you just, but when I was listening to Sister Ty, though, even when you just, welcome back, brother.
Okay. My idea of initiation has changed a lot, being how it is. I didn't really quite understand what it was to begin with, but I guess ignorance was my best ally at that point. But based off of what I know about it now, and being around people who've gone through it, and getting an over-inner and understanding of what it is, I think your initiation starts with you. You kind of do it yourself when you first come into the overstanding of it is when you get initiated. And I think a lot of people, from where I'm at, initiation is almost like an end phase, but in actuality, it's just the beginning. So my view of it is, I think we're all initiated when we started studying and started responding to challenges differently. Because I can say that since I've been, studying with Sadulu House and listening to Chief, I've been having different challenges. And once I'm conscious of the different challenges, then I'm like, okay, I'm being tested. I'm being tested. And that, to me, is when you can respond to those challenges based off of your new overstanding, is when it's part of your initiation. That's how I view it. But as far as and I think Brother Zach had put it perfect about the wedding. You don't have to necessarily, the wedding is just a ceremony, but the commitment had already been made. So if you make a commitment in your mind to do whatever, and you want to learn the system, that's when you get initiated. The ceremony and all that other stuff, that's for other people. That's for everyone else. But I think the initiation aspect of it is in the mind. Is when you make a commitment to bettering yourself and better understanding these, the energies and how to use those energies to not only uplift yourself, uplift your community, and uplift them as well.
I really agree with a lot of what you were saying there, Brother Dietrich, especially the part about viewing the initiation as the beginning and not the ending. Because I know for me, not having any idea of what initiation was, or just thinking that it was something that I could kind of read about to whatever extent to understand, I definitely saw it like kind of like that end scene in The Matrix. And I think Brother Zach alluded to this, where it was like, you go through this experience and all of a sudden you can see the zeros and the ones on the wall and everything, and you can stop bullets or catch bullets in your teeth or whatever it is you want to be able to do. And
Right.
and it was going to be that way, and it's really not. It really is, what I've come to understand is that it really is the beginning of a process. And then, Sister Ty's point, you really have to be very circumspect about whether or not that's even for you to begin with. Because when you're talking about initiation into a priesthood, into being somebody that's going to have to assume a certain role and responsibility in your community for the spiritual health of that community, that's a serious undertaking. And, those of us who, connect with Chief, we see what that work looks like. And, it's tireless work. And oftentimes it's like, forcing people to do what's in their best interest that they should want to do but don't always do anyway. And that can be a lot. And so, I think that for me, just really seeing the initiation as the beginning of a process, and also realizing that it's not a sensationalized task. It is actually a real commitment and a dedication ultimately to others that you're making even through going through that. So, that's kind of where I am with that. So I got a couple. Go ahead.
When you just was talking to, it was when you was like being able to see the codes and the 0 and the 1, and I think as we keep going and you keep learning and you keep studying, and the whole initiation piece for me is basically you got to get to a point where you're able to you're teaching yourself basically. Where and when I say that is you're getting rid of the old ways, kind of what Brother Dietrich kind of said. You're getting rid of the old ways that you used to view things, the old ways that you used to handle things, and basically even your character development. Because when you get initiated, you're supposed to come to a point where now you're able to help and serve the community. But you can't help and serve the community until you're ready and are ready to help and serve yourself. And if you're not there in a space where you're able to where your character is right, well, then it's not going to be there even when you get down to your readings are going to be off for people. Even when you set out to do anything, it's just going to be off. So once you start to really come to a place where you can start to see things for yourself, well, then you're not going to be able to help others out. And then once you start to do that, though, then I think that's when you start to see patterns, because you see the pattern that you had in yourself, of the direction that you were going in, some of the mishaps that you had, and then you're able to see some of the zeros and the ones of when people start bringing some issues or maybe some problems to you that you're able to help with. Well, then you're like, oh, okay, this is what it is, because it's just really what it is zeros and ones, patterns that people start having of, oh, okay, this is what it is. Let me just remove that blockage, or that, to open up that stream of cognition so you can see things from a different point or a different view. And then it'll help you to make different decisions and different views on things, even just by simple things like the words that we use that can just open up, different passages or different doorways that one can walk through, that can help one just get initiated in the way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have a caller, caller 813. Welcome to Chief Speaks.
Greetings, family. How y'all doing? This is
all peace. Sound like you just rolled out of bed, brother.
Nah, man, I'm chilling. I've been up listening to you guys, and I appreciate all the information and the time. So I had a couple things about this month's topic, the magician. One thing that was made very clear to me, and I'm pretty still just scratching the surface of it, was something I asked Chief a couple months ago or a month ago about fluidity obeys no laws. And his description of the push and pull, the negative positive. If you move something to the left, something to the right moves. And being in a holistic place to see that movement and understand that it's both polarities, the negative and the positive, the male and the feminine, working in conjunction for everything that you're doing with your ritual or for your magic that you're trying to play, or even just the thought that you're trying to bring forth during the days and the things that you're going through, is looking at it at a holistic view that really makes the magic, your magic, get into a place where you're actually starting to see it manifest. And a lot of the experiences that I'm going through, like I've been trying to move from the current work that I'm doing now into something new. And I'm realizing that, and like I was saying on the past show, when we were talking about abundance, the point of making sure that you're not only doing your ritual, but you're actually following through with things that are physically attainable. Meaning I'm putting little pieces in place. So whenever I stop doing the work that I'm doing now, that the next work that I'm going to be doing for finances is already starting to move. So when I say, okay, this is done, this is already hit the left side, here's the right side coming in already. You know what I'm saying? So it keeps that flow of energy flowing so you can actually develop and manifest what you're trying to get into. And just another thing to connect with what you guys are talking about with initiation is that, I went through my first initiation 7 years ago. And actually I'm going into my 7th year, which I'm Omo Yemoja. So another play I wasn't told this, but I came to the conclusion that I've seen my life run in 7-year cycles. So I've seen my initiation from the day of my initiation to now grow. I didn't automatically, nobody automatically gets the stuff they get initiated for. It took that cycle or that time period that maybe represents your life somewhere where it took that time to develop those energies and powers and intent to manifest within a certain amount of time. You have to go through your learning stages. You can't just see, it's not just something that automatically comes in together. Sometimes you have to step into that initiation. And that, I guess for my situation, I think I was very ignorant to the religion at that time. And not only that, I was in my own place. I was in a different place. I went through and I lost almost everything that when I had my initiation, I was already going through a state of loss. So I got into the initiation and I lost more. I lost everything from a car from that time. You know what I'm saying? So from that time, I've had rebuilt a lot of things, and the stuff that I'm receiving and the blessings that I've gotten from that time is just amazing. You know what I'm saying? So, like I had during that time of initiation in 2010, I had closed one of my first businesses in August, and then I got initiated in December. You know what I'm saying? So from that point, from that transitional point, I went from losing that shop, losing the car, losing a lot of things, a lot of other things I don't want to get into, but and then transforming into a new car, new house, new business, new functionality. Now I'm closing that I feel like I'm coming to the closing end of that little cycle that's happening, and now I'm moving forward into something new. You understand what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
That initiation process, that we need to kind of think about. A lot of people think, like you guys were stating, is that, I just got this, went through this 4 or 5 day ritual or 3-day ritual, and I got all this thing, I'm energized, and tomorrow I'm going to hit the lottery, or I'm gonna go, right. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of money tomorrow right after this. No, it doesn't work like that. Especially like Chief does a good job of keeping people in check too. Like, what are you doing? You know, okay, you say you're this, you say you're the alpha, you say you this, but why are you doing this and how? But what makes you this? You know what I'm saying? So that questioning amongst our own personal gain, for our magic, for our initiations, for our just life purpose, that those very critical questionings and critical thinking about those steps that we get into is one of the most biggest keys that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great points, Brother Anwar. Thank you very much for bringing that to us. Just listening with something that you were saying and that Brother Dietrich was saying too about sort of looking at your life differently and realizing the situations that you're faced with, and then also looking at new ways to solve those situations. One of the things about life is that life will present the same challenges to you until you create the proper solution to deal with it. And in this journey through our spiritual work, that what we're really trying to do is figure out how to build a better life for ourselves through overcoming those challenges. And I think that's probably one of the main parts of that magician's mindset. And to that point, and Sister Ty, I want to come to you with this. And by the way, it's not lost on me that you're surrounded by men in this situation, Ty. So I hope you're comfortable with all this testosterone on the call with right now. But I do want to come with you. They want to come to you and ask you. One of the things that came up later in the shows for this month was the idea of the magician's mindset. And so the question I want to start with, and I want to start with you, and then the rest of us will jump in as well. How would you suggest a person cultivate a magician's mindset?
It's a great question. It's an ongoing work. I think there's probably 4 things that I see as really, really critical. And the first one is just being in the moment. I know that's really hard for a lot of us. Chief gave reference to it in one of the videos that he did this month, where he was like, you might be listening to this while you're cooking dinner, or, something else is going on. Being in the moment allows you to really connect with that energy of the cosmos and tune yourself into all those messages that are bringing itself forth. Everything matters. So every insect that you see, every license plate you look at, every obstacle you face, really, really means something. And I'll give you a quick example of that. I just came back from travel, being gone for about 2 weeks. And when I came back home, I had this very interesting display of insects that had died in my home. And so near my front door was a set of 5 flies that died in a single row. So they were like in a line. And then at the back window, I had 7 flies that died that formed the number 7. So I had these different things that I had to pay attention to, and I was talking to her. She was like, what the heck is going on? Like, certainly we think of a fly as like, oh, well, that's normal. There are flies in the home. But when you see there are 12 flies and they died in a certain formation, then there's something that's that there's a certain message there for you. So just know that everything has a purpose. I'll give you another quick example. When I was moving, relocating from where I was before to where I am now, this was just a few months ago, I had all these things that began to surface that came across as obstacles. My vehicle was acting up. There were just all these different situations popping up that were kind of sucking me dry of money that I needed for my move. And so I had this point where I was sitting on the road and I was at a stoplight, and I was just like, man, whatever it takes, I'm getting to my new place. Well, I looked up at the license plate that was in front of me. It literally had my name spelled on it, TYA, and the license plate, the state of the license plate was the state that I was moving to. I think I sent this picture of the license plate to Kim. And so we have things like this that oftentimes we miss, because we're not being in the moment. But when you attune yourself properly to that energy, everything makes itself clear to you. So being in the moment is important. Being a conscious creator is really important. Knowing what your thoughts are and knowing that you are forming etheric energy around those thoughts. So when you are spookified and scared of everything all the time, it is only what you created. And so you have to be very clear on what you're creating. Taking nothing for granted, I think, is another critical area. Everything that presents itself to you, you have to be grateful for. For instance, those insects or spirits or people, and so they sacrifice themselves for me to be able to get a lesson. So what I did was offer them fruit at the end of that. You know, you sacrificed something big for me to go through the effort of not only being here so that I could see, but also forming these different formations. That took a lot of effort. So making sure that you don't take anything for granted, taking or expressing your gratitude for all the sacrifices that are made for you to have your advancement. And then finally, I think just being the calabash, recognizing that you are the cup that is always expanding with their different knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is a really critical piece for the mindset of a magician.
Wow, thank you. That was a really, really thorough answer.
I'm about to say,
in there, man. That was like the open book test question response right there. My goodness, man. All right.
A, B, C, and D.
All right.
Brother Zach, got anything you want to share on how a person can cultivate the magician's mindset?
Yeah, thank you for rejogging my memory on the question, man. That's huge. For me, it's just becoming a student. I mean, just becoming a lifetime student and just understanding and knowing that the work is never done. And as soon as you come into a space where you feel like you've done learning, then your magic starts to deteriorate. And in order for one to really come into a place of just really being a magician, is just knowing that you have to day in and day out, and just finding what this entire was just built on, and just finding everything that's going on and being aware of everything that's going on around you, and the little signs and the little symbols, and being able to decode these signs and symbols, and constantly putting some work into your craft. And understanding that it's not always going to be in the area that you want to be in, and it's not always going to be in the area that you want to be in. Kind of going back to that whole when he was roll your boat gently down the stream, and understand that you can't. Nothing is for certain. Nothing lasts forever, and I think that's the beauty in life, is that nothing is forever. So when you're in that situation when you feel like, man, I don't know what I'm losing this, or kind of like what Brother Anwar was saying, I'm losing the house, I'm losing this, I'm losing that. Understand it's not going to be like that forever. So you just find out how you got there, and then you understand that now a magician's mindset is, how do I get out of here? And then how do I keep making things flow or happen in a space where I can start to be at the head and not the tail. So for me, it would just be being a lifetime student, and understanding that the work is never done, and you just keep putting in the energy and the effort to manifest your reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to come to Brother Anwar and Brother Dietrich on that question also. But before I do that, just want to let you know that we've crossed over the first hour of the show. If you're interested in calling, please don't wait till the end, or please don't, not call in at all. It's an open forum. We're all here to learn. We're all here sharing our experiences, asking questions, and getting answers. The number, once again, is 347-945-7680, and then press 1, and we will bring you in. But I do want to turn over or ask Brother Anwar, so on that question of the magician's mindset, do you have anything you'd like to add on how to cultivate that?
I'll state something that Sister Tara said about being in the moment. Experiences that I've had has been, I go through little phases, and during those phases, I drive around a lot at work, so I'm out and about. And what I find myself going through certain times, especially like whenever I have inspiration or inspired thought that has been produced from somewhere else, I start going through little symbols throughout the whole day. The latest one, the one that I just had yesterday, which is funny, was my garden, and Sister Michelle had showed us her sacred space for her Egun altar, which is beautiful. And from that point, I had a rabbit come into my backyard yesterday. It was my neighbor's, but it was an experience because it just popped up out of nowhere, right? And then a little bit later on that day, I took a picture of it and put it on my Facebook. And later on that day, a friend of mine came and said, the rabbit symbolizes abundance in your garden, meaning when the rabbit visits your garden, usually your garden takes off. And I just went out there today and I started looking at what's growing, and all the plants look like it's vibrating very good. The leaves look plush green and everything, and certain aspects like that, you start looking at not only just the physical representation of the plants growing and everything starting to set into the garden. You start seeing that this could be a marker for that change, that abundance, where nature always provides the nourishment and the nourishment that you need to move forward. And paying attention to and being in the moment and paying attention to those things that just seem to just come inside your face, and being aware of those things that come in are just reinforcements of that you're on a path that's right for you. That your manifestation is coming. Just be patient and just let it blossom and bloom like it's supposed to. And that's one of the things I really agree with, because I experienced it multiple times throughout my life, and especially just more within these last few years have I really, really been aware. And I only really want to say conscious of it, just aware of what is happening on a daily basis, on a minute basis, on just being aware of it and growing from that point. So that's one thing. And I will say there's negations to not being the magician. Being very arrogant, I think the arrogance throws you off too. You know, there's one thing about having your ego and being inside your pride, but there's another thing about being arrogant and just looking past and thinking that everything you do just results in pure manifestation, and it just doesn't work like that. You have to pass those little obstacles or initiate. You got to go through those initiations in order to see that manifestation work. You have to pass by certain character traits that are hurting you to move forward. So, but that's what I would say.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, brother.
One thing I was listening to you too, brother. Okay. One thing I will agree with you on: your garden gonna take off, because that rabbit gonna eat everything you got in that garden. You let it keep coming over there. So literally and figuratively, brother, you might want to do. This is where we got to invoke being righteous and doing what's right for the time. That rabbit keep coming over there. I'm from Florida, and I'm not a vegan. Trust me, rabbit stew will be on the menu if it keeps on doing that.
No doubt, brother, no doubt.
Pete, Sammy, can I interject for a little bit?
Oh, absolutely, sis.
I was hearing you build, and I get so many thoughts, but one of the main things that stuck out to me from Chief's lectures was one time he was sharing about how he got to be a black belt. And then he said that at the very end, when he finally got his black belt, he felt like he was just starting all over again. He was just a student. And I feel like that's the way with initiation. I feel like when you initiate into something, you're going to give your commitment to it. And I think initiation nowadays is kind of like a moneymaker. But if you really want to talk about initiation, and it's something that I've been thinking about because I have been consecrated with Chief under my energy. And I've been a student for how many years? And it's so much work, especially internal work. So when you're doing all this work for yourself, for your environment, for your family, for other people, it's a real wake-up call to know, like, am I really worthy of being a student, a lifelong student? Do I really love this? Is this fun for me? Because Chief also mentioned that. Is it fun? Because you have to make it fun. If your life's work is not fun for you, then the magic's gone. And those are hard questions that you have to ask yourself, that people, when they just go get initiated, I don't think they really ask themselves those kind of questions. I was fortunate enough, a lot of I like to look at the spells that have been casted on me already, and to see, kind of like sifting out, why do I act this way? Why do I think this way? Oh, this comes from this and that comes from that. So I was going to join a sorority, and that's also like an initiation, or like a very insulting version of what initiation is. But it's almost like the same thing. Like, I felt like these girls were really rushing me to go through the initiation so I can cross over, quote unquote, and start working with them, start recruiting more people, start getting more money. And that's kind of the way it is, but in a very profane way, because like, you have to go through all these tests and all these obstacles that they give you to see if you're worthy of becoming a part of the group, and are you really serious about the mission of of whatever babalawo or church or tradition you're joining yourself, and then do the work together. So in a way, that kind of it showed me that much, and I quit. I did, because I a couple days before that we were crossing, I kind of like, nah, this is not for me, kind of a thing. So, but I finally found something that I'm like, okay, this is for me, because I do find this fun. I do love my rituals, and I kind of play it by ear. But that's only because, I've been doing this for a little bit. I do rituals from the Sadulu House site regularly. So you become acquainted with the ingredients, with the process. I kind of have my own groove now. When I light my altar, I have everything set up. So it's, it's my way. And I like it. It's my own little funk. And I think that's one of the main ingredients to be a magician. So just like, find your groove. But before you find your groove, you kind of have to learn the ways that, the rules, the regulations. How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you light a charcoal? How do you burn frankincense? How do I light my candle? Is the wick too long? Etc. And then once you find your groove, that's when you can start, playing with it, and with your divination and your intuition on point, of course. And that also means clearing out all the other stuff that's in your ego, your dirt, you're dirty. So clean yourself up, do baths and stuff like that. So it's not easy. We can like you said, like Chief makes it look like nothing, but it's been years that he's clean. He has a clean aura, clean temple, clean mindset. And that's what I'm working on. And yeah, so that's all I have to say.
Gotcha.
I would like to chime in real quick. Sister Michelle got the chief quote of the month. What was it? I feel it in my gut. Chief says, "You feel feces."
That's funny. Hey, so look, just real quick, for those that are listening in, once again, the number is 347-945-7680. Please call in, press 1, and you can join the conversation. Before I move on to another question I had, Brother Dietrich, I just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to weigh in if you wanted to. Anything you would like to add to the cultivation of the magician's mindset?
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. The hardest thing about cultivating, that mindset is, first and foremost, not thinking you crazy when you see coincidental stuff happening. To me, that's the biggest part, because over this whole month, Chief was talking about manifestation, the mind of the magician. I've been paying attention to detail. So I was helping someone move, and I was concerned about money. She was being cheap. you know, she was somewhat of a friend, but I didn't want to, you know, see her stuff out on the street or whatever. So I said I was going to help her do it. And she was just really being tight-fisted with the money. And I had to take care of some other obligations. So I was kind of, you know, I was a little frustrated about it. I'm like, man, I'm never doing this again. She knows she's getting over. I don't know why I do stupid stuff like this. And I was getting my directions. I was giving one of my partners direction to come help me do it, which is funny because he's a marathon runner and he doesn't have any muscles, so I'm going to end up doing it myself anyway. So I said, okay, just come on anyway. So I was walking up the street to get him directions, and I found a $1 in a puddle of water. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I'm listening, paying attention. Then there was another situation where I was sitting at work, and I was worried about money. I was like, you know, I gotta find a way to get my money. I gotta find a way to get my money up. And it's the funniest thing. This homeless guy, he told me like, hey man, you know, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good, man. You all right? Oh, I'm good, man. Man, I'm 14 days clean, man. Just want to let you know, man. I ain't been doing nothing, man. I'm 14 days clean. Here go $1. I said, what? He's like, yeah, man, here go $1, man. You know, say bless. I was like, did the crackhead just give me $1? Okay. Well, all right. Well, sign number 2.
You needed more than me, brother.
But apparently, he gave me $1. Never have I ever had a crackhead give me $1. So I was like, okay, thank you. You know, and I took it. And I ended up giving it to someone else, but I took it. But and then got this reading, got some information, and for 4 days straight. Now Atlanta is you know, big. Every part of town is at least 30 minutes apart. So the first reading, the night we got the reading, this black cat walked up. I'm like, okay, black cat walking up. Went to my job, 34 minutes away. Another black cat walks right in front of me. 2 days later, at another job, black cat walks in front of me again. Heading home, same black cat. I'm pretty sure it's 4 different cats, but it's still a black cat coming around to where I'm at. So like the one thing I can say, you know, well, for the game, the church right here.
Brother, can I ask you a question? What do you think that means?
The cat?
Yeah.
I think. No, they don't.
It means use that $1 to get him some food.
Well, you know, it's funny. I try to keep food in my car. That way, you know, when I see either someone I think need it or something that looks hungry, I just give it to them. But I think that cat, yeah. When I see that cat could be symbolic of a particular energy that's trying to get and keep my attention. Because I had a reading about that particular energy. And it was so funny, the day before that reading, I had a dream. I'm sorry, somebody's pulling off. I had a dream that I was holding a black baby horse. So it's just, you know, knowing, and I think Chief had I don't know if he had a show about it or he mentioned it, but he was like, you know, the more symbols you know, the more the spirit realm can communicate with you. So just paying attention to the sock, jet black, no white socks, nothing, no white spot on his face, a jet black cat each and every time. And then a baby horse and finding $1 in a puddle of water and getting money from a homeless person. So the more you know about your symbology and the more you do your study, the more you see who these energies are representing. So that's what it means to me. Like, that's what, you know, we all know who the black cat is sacred to, you know, the people that have been studying. So like, that's kind of confirmation. Like, okay, so he's around and he's trying to get and keep my attention. So I know that I'm going to have to use that energy at some point or come into that consciousness or invoke the inner aspect of that energy that's already in me, because it's making itself manifest to say, keep your mind on me, you know, keep your mind open.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. I think we have a caller 561. Welcome to Chief Speaks.
Hello?
Yes, 561.
Hi, how are you guys? Nice talking to all of you. I am new to everybody, and I am one of the archive students.
Oh, well, welcome, archive students.
And I have listened to most of the talks for this month, but I was doing the archive, so I'm kind of back and forth. But thank you guys for doing this. It's actually pretty fun. And the one thing I'd like to add to the talk is that what I got, I'm not initiated and I'm new on this journey, but the main thing I got from all of you guys and from Chief is going on this path, whether it's a magician path or initiation or a spiritual path, is that not only let going of ego, but to be selfless. So figuring out ways that you can give to your community and to others. And sometimes I feel that that's not said, and this is the first forum that I hear that being said over and over and over again. And so even with myself, I kept looking at myself and saying, okay, what else can I do? What else can I, in small ways, what can I do to be a member of a community, give back to others in small, simple ways. So I feel that was a message that I was supposed to get and that I've gotten and that I am embarking on. So thank you to Chief and to all of you for that. So thank you.
Thanks.
And we thank you for coming out behind the veil and speaking up on Chief.
Right. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate that. Once again, the number, because I know we're coming close to the 2-hour mark here on the show. The number, once again, is 347-945-7680. Dial in and press 1, and you can join the discussion with Chief Speaks. Okay, so now go ahead, brother.
Let me just add this one quick thing, too. And when we're talking about initiation, I just want everybody to understand, too, is you can, if you start coming into it, some people can get carried away in spending more money in African spirituality than they would be even if they were at church or any other kind of organization. And I think that's the one biggest thing that stood out with me with Chief is he's more of, you do this for yourself. You don't get dependent on somebody else and staying stuck on somebody else and like, okay, I need you to do this. Okay, let me do the reading for you, which is $100-something, and then let me do the EBO for you, which is now going to be $600-700. And every time I do this reading, then this EBO is coming. Whereas even when the first time when he did a yearly reading, he was like, this is not the time to embark on anything. This is the reach one, teach one. And that might have been in 2015. And I remember this is when I kind of was listening, but I was in, but wasn't in. And I'm like, man, I'm out of here. That ain't, he ain't saying nothing I want to hear. I'm trying to get some manifesting in. But when you really boil it down, that initiation piece comes in as being just a student. So therefore, you don't have to keep relying on somebody, and then you can start to teach other people what you know, your knowledge, and you can help other people out. And when we start to, I think we get into things that are, it's new and it's different, and I'm just happy to be doing something else. But that initiation piece, especially when you start relying on, I got it from the continent. Man, you're not doing anything different than what somebody's doing right here. So just relax, become a student, and learn as much as you can. And be able to go with the flow. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Mm-hmm. Cool, appreciate that. We have another caller 662. Welcome to Chief Speaks.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
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 I'm really enjoying the show, and I want to speak on when Chief was talking about the magician. My understanding of a magician is that when they practice their craft, they practice it, they live it. And I think that's what we have to do, or what I have to do, in order to develop my spirituality in the manner that I would like to. Not to be initiated, because I really don't want that much responsibility. But I do want to be able to take care of my family.
There it is. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it has to be natural, right? Your spiritual work, just like Brother Zach alluded to in the beginning of the show, you got to be as natural with your spiritual work as possible. And you have to understand that it is work and it is repetition, and it's all those things. But it's beneficial to you and your own growth at the end. So, thank you very much for that, sister. Appreciate that. Thank you for calling in too.
Thank you.
So once again, I see we're starting to pick up some call traffic, which is fantastic. Once again, for those that are listening in, the number is 347-945-7680. Press 1, and you can join the conversation. So I just wanted to come back. So I got one more question that I'd like to pose to the group here, and it kind of gets to one of the, I think it may not have been the last week's show, but the week before that. Chief talked a lot about, as he always does, about character development, and just why character development is so critical to the magician mind development. And so, I just wanted to pose that question to the group as well, and just get an idea of why that's the case. Why is character development so important to your mind development? Let's start with Brother Dietrich. You want to join in and just answer that question for us?
Character development, based off of how I understand it, is important when it comes to your spiritual work, because it kind of sets the standard for how you respond to things. So if you, let's say you have bad character and there's a particular challenge, which might be a sign, and you respond to it in your lower self, you're not going to get the lesson that challenge is giving you. So as far as like my experience and my growth, with Anu spiritual training and just, studying in general, is character is developed through conflict. How well do you handle conflict? How well do you handle stress? How well do you handle things not going your way? Because I think that's the biggest part of it. Because at some point, in order for your character to be developed, it has to be tested. So that's my biggest piece of, heads up for anybody who's coming into the overstandings of, what Chief is teaching, and, just being more spiritually conscious. Just prepare yourself for challenges, and you have to look at the challenges as a blessing. And that and what drove that home for me is I was at the ranch, and we got these horses. I was working with the owner of the ranch. He had this pretty black Tennessee Walker, smooth gait, picked the knees up real good, just real flashy jet black horse. And then my partner, he had his little white quarter horse. And then I had this big draft horse mare, biggest horse out there. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be cool. I got the biggest horse, yada, yada, yada. I got on the horse. Y'all finna go on the street. We got our cowboy hats and boots and things on. We finna go ride in the street. And I get on the horse, and the horse would not move. No matter how much I beat that horse, she would not move. So I'm like, wait a minute. Now, why is it that everybody got these pretty slick horses, and I get on the one horse that won't move? So, make a long story short, what I learned from that situation is that he gave me that horse in order to challenge me on how to deal with a difficult horse. So now when I get in contact with another one, I know how to get it to move. So when you see challenges, it's not necessarily always a bad thing or some spell or something like that.
Hey,
it's an opportunity.
Hold on a second, Brother DJ. Hold on. We had some background noise. Is somebody playing with knives or something in the background? What is that?
They trying to get that horse to move too.
Yeah,
vibrations.
Sorry, go ahead, brother.
But yeah, like that's to me what character development is how do you respond to things that don't necessarily go your way? Can you respond, like if you get a challenge, are you gonna go back to your lower self, man, why this happening, man? Like it's always happening to me, I can't never have nothing nice. But you're like, okay, let's start with the beginning. What part did I play in this first? Second, is this something that I can control? Second, third, do I need help? Fourth, am I making a big deal out of nothing? To me that's character development, how you treat people. Because once again, another one of the signs. Right before I found that dollar. Well, right after I found that dollar in a puddle of water, the female at Walmart got an attitude with me because I asked her was she in line, and I didn't respond to it. Because any other time, I'm like, man, who you think you're talking? Like, nah, just let her have it. And that's the challenges that I've been getting. Like something, I get a sign, and then somebody will say something slick, and it's always some woman. So I'm like, okay, I get it. Just even though she's being nasty, you don't have to stoop and talk to her or even respond to her mess. Just stay in your royalty. Keep your crown on. Don't take your crown on and step down in the mud and get your head dirty and stuff. Keep your crown on, learn the lesson, and keep it pushing. But of course, the challenges get stronger. They'll start saying stuff, and then, the more and more you like, okay, that's another challenge. You're not going to pull me out of that. Then that's when you'll start getting the blessings from them too, because not just too long ago, a sister called me, wanted me to help her move. All because I didn't respond to this lady who was picking just because she could. And I had to sit there and listen at it. So character development in the sense of how you handle your challenges is key if you're going to make any type of spiritual advancement, in my opinion.
Got you. Thank you very much for that, brother. I'll tell you what, man, you live an interesting life, man. You got crackheads giving you money, baby horses, man. People at Walmart arguing with you, man. Your thing is live all the time, man. Brother Anwar, I just want to come to you real quick and just ask you about the character development question as well. You have something you'd like to add on that?
The most interesting man in the world. That's funny. That's hilarious, man. Hey, but I just want to chime in off what Brother Dietrich just said, and that's about there's success and failure. There's failure and success. And one thing about character development is realizing that not everything works the first time out. And how do you take it? Do you just give up on it, or do you stay consistent with it? And for my example, I'm going to put my example because I'm always going to put stuff that I'm actually going through inside of the mix. I made a money pot through one of the rituals on SaduluHouse.com. And when I first did it, I didn't really see nothing. I actually started seeing money being taken away from me for a while, right? So what I started doing is follow the directions, once again, and said every time you have to go to that pot, you give it this, and this. So now what I do, I find myself doubling, tripling, meaning like I'll put like $5. I put $5 in another day. Now another day I just put $10 in it, and I'm gonna keep going with that and do the steps that were inside of that ritual to make sure that I'm paying attention and following the instructions. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't succeeded on the money that I initially asked for. You know what I'm saying? But I understand why that hasn't happened. And I understand that it's still inside of that. There was a success initially that was made because I made the pot. I made my money pot. You know what I'm saying? I made a sacred space on my altar to reference whenever I need to adjust to make something, right? So that's just an example. So you have to have a good character mind state and understanding that even if I fail the first time, if I consistently keep on doing it and changing the way I do it and experimenting with the ways I do it, I will eventually have success. Now, it doesn't mean to keep doing the same thing. If I sat there and said, let me just take the pot apart and redo the whole ritual, do it from scratch from point one, that means you're going to stick at point one until anything else, until you learn your lesson. But this is what I did. I adjusted. I followed the directions. Instead of going back to point one and redoing the ritual, I went to the second part of the ritual, and now I'm continue. And I'm most likely as I grow, there's going to be another third part of that ritual, another fourth part, fifth part, because I'm once again, I'm initiating, I'm changing, I'm moving forward, and understanding that the things that I'm doing, I might be failing in, but I'm learning about from my failure or what I did wrong, and then I'm taking that in, using the good character judgment and analytic, and analyzing what I didn't do right, taking it in and being and accepting it, and then moving forward from it, and not doing that same process again. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say and chime in on that character development, because I think that, like Chief accentuates that. First thing is first is Ori. no matter what we look at, the first thing that we need to develop is our ori. We can't have a dirty, corrupted soul and then expect to have everything that we want from that. So,
gotcha. Thank you very much for that, brother. Appreciate that. Once again, folks, we are almost coming to the end of this 2 hours. The number, once again, to call in is 347-945-7680. Press 1 to join the conversation. I want to hear from the sisters, so I'm going to turn it over and ask Sister Michelle and then Sister Ty if they wanted to add anything about how character development plays into the magician mindset.
I think. I feel like the character is everything, honestly. How true are you to yourself? What are you hiding? And all of these things are the things that need to be explored. I feel like we live in a very fake society. So kind of these masks and these social norms kind of like force us to be people who we're not. And that's almost to our detriment. So I feel like that's what the hardest part about doing all this is really coming into yourself and then being confident enough to express that to other people and show who you are to the community, because that way the community can recognize you, and then you can work on your character in the community. So first you have to find yourself, then you have to have your community recognize you, and then you have to work your character within the community and also learn how to see character in other people. And that's all part of the magic. So it's all interconnected, seeing why are these people in my life? Who do they represent? Who am I? And so, realize the magic in that, which is
absolutely
hard. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to say too, I really appreciated that comment you had about, if it's not fun for you, then the magic is gone. I appreciate that. That was, I was really thinking about that one. So thank you for sharing that comment as well. Sister Taya, you have something that you would like to add to as far as the connection between character development and the magician mindset?
Sure. And I think I'll start by using the definition of character, and this is Chief's definition. It's the mark that you leave in a community that tells the greater story. And then the bad character would be that which defeats its own purpose. So as Sister Michelle said, character is everything. Until we learn to master, who we are and learn why we think the way we do, how to control the thoughts, we're always unconsciously creating. And then we're giving that energy to the wrong thoughts, which is what will manifest quicker than that what we really want to manifest. And so I think that's a really critical
Could
piece.
you repeat that?
What's that?
Could you
The
repeat
definition of character.
Repeat what you just said, because it's starting to click. Repeat what you just said.
Okay, so I think you're talking about the part where I said we have to learn. It's everything, like knowing or developing our character is everything. And character is the mark that we make within our community. And that the bad character is that which defeats our purpose. So you have to know, you have to continue to assess and develop who you are, because if you don't, then you are unconsciously creating and feeding the wrong etheric body, which will then come and manifest more quickly than what you want to manifest in reality. And so there's that constant balance and assessing, and as everyone has said so far, you have to be able to see everything for what it is, and it's being in that moment experience again that I mentioned earlier. So I really think that that's the biggest piece.
So I'm gonna ask Brother Dietrich a question off of what you just said, Sister Ty. So, Brother Dietrich, how would you say one would find that balance of the mark that they leave in the community, but then also knowing when the communities or some folks are trying to take advantage of them?
Based off what she said, or based off what I think is, how you respond to it still. Because if you're projecting, if you're, and I think that was Chief had said that in the show. Magic is not something that you practice. And I think Sister Michelle said the same thing. Magic is who you are. It comes out. So if I'm in a community and I'm projecting myself as this high, character person, but I'm still getting tried, you can look at that in two ways. You can look at the people trying you as a challenge, or you're not really projecting what you think you are. Because I look at people, I figure people are a direct and indirect reflection of who you are. So if you're attracting predatory people, there's something predatory about you. But from a depolarized perspective, if you're a person that's trying to do right, you're gonna have people try to knock you off your throne. So I guess that's where your Orion intuition would come in at, and paying attention to details and seeing which part of that you're playing in it, and are you projecting what you are, or are you being what you are? And I think that would be the barometer for that. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, so you're saying then that the challenges that one keeps occurring, that it's the challenges that you have within you, or are these challenges that one would need to learn from so they don't keep repeating the same thing?
I think when you keep having the same challenge, I think that's a problem that you're having personally, and the problem ain't gonna stop until you fix it. Because I was talking to one of my colleagues, and she said, protecting yourself has a lot to do with your karma. So if you're not protecting yourself, then your karma won't be good, and you will be constantly put in positions until you protect yourself. So if you're having the same problem, that means you're doing something wrong. You're projecting something wrong. The universe, the spirit world, or your Ori is trying to get your attention, and they're going to keep doing it until you have no choice. If you're really trying to make progress, they're going to do something to get your attention where you can't ignore it anymore, where they're making that same mistake is detrimental to your health or the health of someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I can dig it. Give thanks, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Okay. And so, Brother Zach, is there anything you wanted to add around the character development part before we move to the close of the show here?
So, I think Sister Michelle kind of said it. When you're talking about character, you're able to see your character, and you're able to see the character in others. And when you look at it, I think I look at it as just in what was their intent, and why did you even, when I hear sometimes she say, why did you even get into this quote unquote conscious community? Why did you even come into this in the first place? And a lot of times it's hard for us to even ask those questions, or it's hard for us to even see the intent of others, because a lot of times we don't even know what our own intent is. So that's why I think character development is key, because once you develop your character, then you're able to see it in others. And then it's very easy for one then, to see what their intentions are behind why they're even doing what they do. Are they here just to try to capitalize and make money off of somebody? Are they here because they just didn't fit in another group? Are they here just because, this is smooth and slick talking and I can get out? It's acceptable for me to have multiple women and I'm going to do this, or whatever it is. Like, why did you do it? When you start to see it and you start to feel somebody's vibrations of, man, hold on, this person is not sincere, this person is not real, this person doesn't come off, so then you don't get into situations where then all of a sudden this person says, I helped you, and you remember that one time, and they try to jam you up in this because now you've developed your own character to see what other people are, how they're trying to attack, how they're trying to come at you, what is this and what is that. So, and even when you sit down and you try to manifest, or you're going to, do your magic, then it's basically, this is no different than the spiritual community. They check, well, let me see what type of character you got. Why are you doing this? Why are you in this? And it helps one to manifest and create your own reality. Is just from your character and how you move throughout the world and how you have relationships with other people. Because when you back it all down, that's really what life is all about. Is the relationships that you have with other people. And if your character is dented, your character is flawed, well, then you're going to have a tough time developing and cultivating some real, truthful, meaningful relationships with other people.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. All right, brothers and sisters. So look, we're about at 12:49 p.m. We got about 11 minutes left before the show goes in the archives. We do not have any more callers in at this time, so we want to close with some closing statements. Whoever would like to go first, most certainly can. And what we want to do is just kind of put a nice summary on this discussion of the magician's mindset.
Yeah, so
and
for me, at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day, you just got to have faith in yourself. You got to know by any means necessary when you go to set out to do something, just because the water might be a little high or the water might be a little low, you don't get down on yourself. You don't let the highs get too high. You don't let the lows get too low. But you just keep your head focused. You stay on the path. You stay flexible. You stay mobile. You don't worry about what everybody else is hollering at you unless you have invested some sense of what they say in the community. But other than that, it's just outside noise and outside distractions. Don't get too caught up in looking at, your day-to-day, the highs and lows or the emotions that come with it, because they're transient, they're going to move and they're going to flow, but you just got to keep going day in and day out, knowing that there is no other answer but what you set out to find. And know within yourself, without a shadow of a doubt, that it can and you will get it done.
Thank you for that. Sister Tyra, you want to give us a closing?
Yeah, sure. Just a reminder for everyone to, be in the moment, be the calabash, and be sure to express gratitude for every offering that is being made to you by the cosmos, by you being able to even see those things that are surrounding you.
Thank you for that. Brother Anwar.
Yeah, I'm here. My bad. I had it on mute. Playing the fool, man. You have to play the fool, because you're not going to become the magician until you play the fool. That's one thing Chief spoke on. And understanding that, yes, your character is going to state who you are once you know who you are. And once you state what you are, anything that comes inside of your plane or your paradigm, you'll be able to see what's right and what's wrong for you. So making sure that within all this, that you are happy, you're entertained, you are excited. Don't find yourself in a place where you're too stressed out about your own personal enlightenment, and you're not finding happiness and excitement in your life. So sometimes you got to play the fool. You got to play the fool, and you got to just be the fool so you can stomp out your magic within that.
Thank you for that. Sister Michelle.
Peace, brothers. I just, something just came to me, and I just want to remind everybody the importance of knowing your role in terms of, female and male, and, the importance of establishing that family and being happy in your family and finding the fun in the everyday, because that's very key to the magic. And I swear to God, to this day, my children are my source of my magic. And, so family's important. That's all I gotta say.
Appreciate that.
I think we got there's a skit. We got a Skype call once again. Well, hold on, Brother DJ, before you bless us with your presence. We got somebody calling.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Peace.
Greetings. Yeah. So my name's Naam. I'm calling from the UK. I've been loving the show so far. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. And, I just wanted to add in to the part about character development. And it's for me, it's like a alchemical process. So you're going through, from obviously lead, and you're getting put in through your trials and your tribulations, and you're going to come out like gold. It's like the knife, a blunt knife, sharpening that knife. in order for it to become useful, in your community. And it's also about listening, being really receptive. I think Chief said a few shows back about everyone wants to be the speaker. People go on courses and want to do public speaking, but nobody knows how to listen. And I think that's like one of the key things here, and that's how you're able to access sort of like listening to others and distinguish between ego and other people's characters, and also to kind of tap into your own soul, your divine blueprint, because everything is communicating, like Chief said. So that's my contribution to the last part of the show.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thanks,
man.
brother.
Thank you. And
Yeah,
everything
no problem.
always sounds good in that accent, doesn't it? It really flows. It sounds real smooth when that accent comes over, right? Brother
You gotta
Dietrich,
say
you want to
pause,
add a closing
brother
statement?
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, Brother Dietrich.
Okay, I thought that was Brother Byron at first. But I would say just man, who's shooting? Who is shooting?
It's some fireworks.
Cracking on his dollar back.
Exactly. Man,
Sorry, I'll mute myself.
Where's he at?
No.
All right. But yeah, I would say just pay attention to coincidence. Pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to the things that you've manifested so far, the people that you've manifested, the situation that you manifested, the thoughts, the voice that you hear in your head, and just the signs that you see. Like once you start paying attention to that, then you'll start to, the messages will become more clear, and then your magic will be more effective because you can see how what you did coincide with what happened. So that's what I would say. Just pay attention to coincidence.
Appreciate that. Yo, Brother Dietrich, once again, man, you live the most interesting life in the world. Gunfire, crackheads giving you money, magic hats, baby horses. It's all kinds of stuff going on around you, bro. Good grief.
Man, y'all got to come down here and help me, man. It's crazy down here. Spirit's out of control.
Right, man. Good grief. Anyways, and just, I guess just for me was as a closing statement,
Well, hold on, Brother Charles. We got one more call before you close us out,
all right,
man. Get to 856. 856. You are on.
Peace,
Chief
everyone.
Speak.
It's Brother Justin Green, one of the students.
What's up, brother?
Hey. Listen, everyone was mentioning things for me that makes a lot of sense. A lot of things that, one of the main things that stuck out for me was the whole month was the metaphor of the magician. And sometimes, because I'm still coming out of that, I guess the somewhat fantasy kind of bringing metaphor to it and making more sense of it. When it comes down to like the archetype of the metaphor, all the way down to like the Rider-Waite tarot card of the magician, you see, how he's pointing from the sky to the earth, and then you see around him there's like certain symbols that symbolize the elements. And a lot of you were mentioning that you have to pay attention to like patterns and things that repeat, and you have to know. My thing is you have to kind of know which element or which thing to use in terms of keeping and protecting or growing your character. And I'll use myself for an example. It's just a particular pattern that kept repeating in my life was I've attracted, and in my own life I know that I tend to be a lot more emotionally centered. I wasn't as rational, and I wasn't using, I would say, like hypothetically, I wasn't using, or on a metaphor level, I wasn't using the air element, or I wasn't using the fire element in ways of developing and sharpening my character like I should have been. So I've attracted so many people over the years of me growing up that were like using their emotions and using things to manipulate me, or I would use my own emotions to make excuses for things and all that kind of stuff. But over time, especially with being connected to Chief, over time, I've learned just how to use the element of air right now. Like I would say like right now, that's the biggest thing for me. Even with me attracting an Oya energy, like I have a very strong sense of rationality now that has protected me in so many ways in terms of protecting my mind, protecting just my energy overall. And I've noticed just with paying attention to that magician, so to speak, and knowing how to manifest things based upon just simply protecting myself. That is an awesome way to build your character. You know, you were mentioning that protection is a big piece of it too. Like knowing which things are harmful to you, and how that delays your development. You know, once you become aware of it, you have the tools. Use the tools and then work your way out of it and things of that nature. But it's very, character development is very, very big. It's very, very big. And I'm noticing that I was thinking that over years that it was just about trying to just be on the offense all the time, like trying to, you know, fix everything about yourself in such an outward manner. But until you realize that, hey, a lot of these things that I'm dealing with are just repeating themselves, and I haven't fully been able to live like I live my own truth to the way that it needs to be lived. I get it now. So that piece of protection is like, for me at least, it's big. And that whole, just using the elements even down to like just the general earth, air, fire, water. I'm not really familiar with how you could use ether yet, but the 4 elements, just down there, are just deep enough for you to even develop your character, shape it, and protect yourself. So I had to call and add that because it is deep, and in my own growth, I'm noticing that, you know, how important character is, and just becoming a manifester is deep. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Got you very much. Thank you, Brother Justin, for calling in.
Of course.
Appreciate that. You know, thank you to everybody on the line. Thank you to Brother Zach, Brother Anwar, Brother Dietrich, Sister Michelle, Sister Taya. Thank you for Sister Kim on the back end, making sure we all are doing what we're supposed to be doing. This has been a very good show. To those who have called in, especially the first-time callers, thank you very much for calling in. For those that didn't call in this time, there will be another opportunity. We get together every month, the 4th or the last Sunday of the month at 11 a.m. Once again, the purpose of the call is to get the learners together, those who are just trying to learn, and we learn in collective environmental spaces, and this is one of those opportunities for us. So if you didn't call in this week, by all means call in next time. I'm sure next week, beginning next week, Chief will be doing the segments again on another subject. So we just want to say thank you for all those that called in, and peace.
Peace.
Peace, everyone.
Peace and new family. Blessings.